Yo, what's up, everybody? Lawler here. It is officially the trade window. If you guys don't know what the heck that means, it means that teams are officially allowed to make transfers or trades to their roster over the next couple of weeks. And because of that, there's some crazy rumors already starting to come out. And I'm excited to tell you guys some that have been confirmed and some that are currently just insane to think about if these happen. Let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Lawler here. Going to be talking about the trade window. To provide a little bit of history for those that do not know, in the past, teams used to be able to trade and transfer and make roster changes willy-nilly as long as they kept 2/3 of their starting roster, meaning that if you have 3 players that are playing the matches during the RLCS, as long as you keep 2/3 of them, you're fine. And you could trade a different player and mix and match accordingly. What ended up happening, and in recent years, the way that it's worked is you were only allowed to make those changes to the point where if you got rid of 2 of your starters, then you had to reset your position. You had to basically give up all the points you had earned for the season. That trade window officially started on December 13th and will go until January 2nd. And this applies to the ability to change the roster once per trade window. For example, if I'm version 1, I've got Calm, Torment, and Gimmick. And if I decide to make a change to one of those 3 players, even if I decided to make another transfer in spring during the spring trade window, the only person I'd be able to replace is that same new person we brought in during the winter. And that is no longer the case. As long as you make changes, only one during those time windows, you can change out any individual player, whether it be the same person or a different person from the last time, which is new to this year. So over the next 2 weeks or so, we are going to see a lot of moving parts because all these teams ultimately are trying to end top 5 in the standings so they can go to the major. Eventually, those majors then accumulate points and the ability to go to the World Championship. So before the winter split starts, you're going to see all these different teams trying out different players in different fashions to see which one fits the best in hopes of improving their results during winter so they can go to the winter major and then inevitably try to earn those points back to go to the World Championship. We've already seen some of these rosters and rumors come out over the last couple of weeks. Shoutouts to Shift and the efforts that they put in. But some of these now have been a long time thing where we've been wondering what's going to happen. We're going to start with Shopify Rebellion. If you guys didn't know, obviously Beast Mode no longer with the team. They've been using their sub, trying to find for a permanent third, and they have officially announced who that is. We're going to start with obviously with the confirmations first and then get into the rumors, just so I can keep track of these things. And Shopify Rebellion put out this tweet. Please join us in welcoming Parth to the Rebellion as part of our Rocket League squad. Now, if you do not know who Parth is, very talented young player at the age of 16 that used to play for Topley and Seoul, and I think Narnia was one of the other teams, but has never really gotten the opportunity to play in the big stage. Has played obviously through the different regionals in RLCS X of last year, but has never really broken into that top tier. These were obviously all under Seoul, which was a team that was made up of Parth, Stealth, and Knight, with Turtle as their sub. Not the caster Turtle, but other Turtle. There's 3 of them in the scene. It doesn't help. Just like Andy and stuff like that. But Parth, a very talented player. Very talented player with a ton of potential. And it's cool to see that this kind of stuff is the things that are going to be happening anytime that any of these teams that are out of essentially the top 8, and even if you are in the top 8 and things just aren't performing well, understanding the impact of not performing well during not only individual events, but also an entire split and having to make those points up. So Parth is going to be joining Shopify Rebellion, hopefully giving them a chance to get that resurgence back and make moves towards the winter split. Up next, we know about Guild and the fact that Gregan is no longer their coach. He's now doing casting stuff. So they are looking for a new coach, and they have found one. They put out, excited to announce, we have the legend that is Marky Duda joining Guild as our Rocket League coach. Former world champion is joining us to put Guild back on top this January. Welcome, Mark. And I'm awesome and happy and excited the fact that Marky, as he is one of my favorite people in the scene, is back in a coaching position. Used to be with Singularity, but that still doesn't answer what their starting roster is. Who's replacing Bluey? That's what I want to know. We'll have to wait and see on how that plays out. But Guild, as of right now, does have a new coach. We'll see what ends up happening for them. There's obviously been a lot of rumors of who their new third is, but until confirmed, right now they are still rumors. Last but not least, the thing that we are talking about that is confirmed is Kuxir's Minions. Kuxir Minions, if you guys don't know, this team has obviously played some upset. Kuxir, Growly, and RXI have done pretty dang well recently and are hoping to find a new home, but they did put out a tweet of the It's Official GIF, whatever you want to call it, showcasing it looks like they have org representation. So glad to see that this team, most likely moving forward, is going to be under a new name come winter. What it is and who it is, we'll have to wait and see. Now on to the rumors, the things that everybody loves and enjoys oh so much. And of course, we're going to start off with more Team Liquid rumors. These obviously all come from Shift. Shoutouts to them putting in the work, trying to figure out this information and making it public for us to talk about. We can talk about what the announcement is and give credit to Shift. Then we can have our own thoughts and opinions about it. Let me know what your guys' thoughts and opinions are about some of these in the comments down below. But it says from Shift, Team Liquid has been trying different combinations with Acronic as the focus, not Ronicky this time around. Dorito, formerly of Barcelona, FC Barcelona, has been a target of the organization to pair with Acronic. Ronicky is currently expected to stay with the team despite no longer being considered the centerpiece. And I have heard rumors about this, where the shift from rebuilding a team around Ronicky is now becoming a shift to focus of rebuilding a team around Acronic. And there is a chance that during this trade window, it'll be Ronicky, Acronic, and a new third. And then come spring, it is going to be Acronic, new third, and then replacing Ronicky. Whether that happens or not, I do not know. I think a lot of it is going to depend on Ronicky's performance in the winter split to see if things start to go in a positive way, because that has not been the case for Shift lately. But there is hopes and desire that over time, this team will start to see improvements, basing and building it around the young stud that is Acronic. For those that don't know, Acronic was signed with BS Plus competition alongside Freaky and had really big performance and really standout performance. And that's why he got kind of picked up by one of the bigger organizations. But now realizing that it's been a humbling experience. You expect this star player to come in, and all of a sudden those results don't happen. So Acronic goes from being at a high and performing really well to now being barely qualifying for some of these top 24 spots, is going to humble you and make you kind of work harder and try to find things that work out. So I'm excited to see on how this rumor plays out. And again, shout outs to Shift for the work that they put in for this. Again, without them, a lot of these rumors were not going to be made to light. So pretty cool to see that we can start having this conversation and stuff. But also please understand, for everybody watching, I hate that I have to clarify this every time. It is very likely that these rosters are trying out tons of different players, different combinations of those, and at any given point, rosters can fall through. Certain tryouts may not work out. Certain teams may offer a better contract. So even though we think this player is going here, he ends up going there. Happens all the time. So again, keep your mind open. Understand that these are just initial, like, hey, we see these people trying out with each other, but until they are finalized by either Team Liquid or the player themselves, keep an open mind. Things can change very quickly. Another rumor by Shift says that after dropping this trade window, Heroic, after multiple tryouts, have decided to complete their roster with Yukio. So this one, they are very certain on that Yukio is going to be joining Violent Panda again and going over to Heroic. And a lot of people have been comparing this with Astral in that situation, or the whole Dignitas situation with Turbo and Yukio. But the big difference is there was some internal things going on between Violent Panda and Turbo when that team split. Yukio ended up getting let go, as compared to saying, hey, we want you to leave. It's just a different scenario. But I will say that Yukio is going to be quite familiar with the playstyle of Verge and Panda and what they want to accomplish, and hopefully that will lead to more success. Obviously, Oli is a very talented player, and things have been going quite well with his performances, but they need that extra to put them over the hurdle of that top 8. So will be interesting to see how Heroic performs and how they do. Obviously, they ended very poorly alongside Misfits at the end of Regional 3. So winter, fingers crossed for Heroic and how they do. And maybe Yukio will go Super Saiyan again. We'll have to wait and see. Now, the big rumor everybody's been talking about that completely blew up Twitter when they decided to drop it. Again, Shift always dropping as what it's been referred to as the Shift bomb, which always happens when some of these roster rumors come out. They put out, after poor performance at Fall Major, Team Envy are reportedly looking to make a change. Their decision is between Sypical and an upcoming prospect of Daniel as the two frontrunners to, and wait for it, replace Turbo. So that means two different things. Number one, possible changes to both Envy and Space Station. Redo's Arsenal looking for a new third. Sypical possibly going to Envy in place of Turbo, which means it would be Atomic, Sypical, and Mist. Which you just look at that on paper and go, this is so crazy. Like, that's some big name players making changes. You also think about, where's Turbo going? And Turbo's circumstance is very unique. He has tweeted that he is having an extended time and stay back in Sweden to spend time with family, and rightfully so, because it's been numerous years. But again, Turbo obviously being the circumstance of living in North America and dealing with a visa for being able to stay in the States and stuff, finding an organization that can support that is a very, very difficult thing. So you do not know how this is going to play out. Obviously, Space Station also looking, if Sypical does end up moving on, trying to find a replacement where Beast Mode seems to be their primary focus. Right now in North America, the three that are most sought after are Aqua, Daniel, and Beast Mode from the sounds of things. But there is a lot of moving parts with certain players once they are removed from organization, going and trying to find different. It's just a domino effect that can always change. So keep in mind, if these things are being tried out and stuff like that, you could quite potentially be seeing SSG as Daniel, Arsenal, Reddles. You could possibly see it being something completely different. You could see Envy being a multitude of different things. Again, it's just wild to see the changes that are possible when one player of that status or of that organization status start to mix things up. It's creating a lot of conversation, and part of that conversation is actually the director of player management over at Envy, Ian, who is a friend of mine and a former manager over at Cloud9 before he went to Envy, says, "Rarely do I speak publicly about management decisions, but felt I should do so now. As is best practice for any team to remain competitive, it's healthy to practice and review all options objectively. At the moment, we are not taking any action with our Rocket League team." So this tweet came out shortly after this rumor ended up being posted by Shift. I'm talking within like 2 hours. Now, a lot of people are trying to speculate about what this means. Some people are looking at the phrasing "at the moment" and seeing if, well, yeah, right now you might not, but what about in a couple weeks? What happens then? So again, you try to not look too deep into it because we are just waiting to see what the heck is happening. Either way, a lot of conversation is being created. And my favorite thing about all this is the replies to Ian's tweet. One guy says, "Could you speak as to why the team doesn't have a couch?" It means coach. And another guy replies, "A chair is sufficient enough for them. No need for a couch," which I think is hilarious. Twitter never changed. You're all a bunch of memers, because Envy does not have a coach. That's what he was curious about. And now he doesn't get an answer. So good stuff all around, but a lot of unique things happening in the scene. So potential for new rosters at the top. Whether they stay at the top or not, we'll have to wait and see. But again, it has only been a day, and this is the kind of stuff that is coming out. So pretty interesting stuff. Curious to hear what your guys' takes are. Again, shout outs to Shift for making this stuff public. But again, it creates conversation. Be critical thinkers. Think about, hey, this is potentially not going to happen. But if it does, how do I feel about it? What kind of things do you like, dislike? Do you think the team will be good or bad? Who do you think fits best for these rosters? Let me know in the comments down below. And down there as well in the description if you guys have any questions. Links to everything I'm talking about today are in there. And if you guys do enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.